Hey, Ben, it's Nick from Oregon.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good. So I was just gonna talk to you. I just want to ask about the St. Petersburg explosion, and you just brought up kind of the whole like people making this a kind of a false flag thing, like
Yeah,
oh, this might not be, this might be something we want to, not pay attention to as much. And I
right.
wanted to see if you could give any kind of commentary. I know that Michael Tracy. I don't know if I'm a fan of his, but the conversation is definitely interesting to listen to about how the whole Russia perspective that Dems and otherwise keep
Yeah,
advancing kind of erases like people from the conversation. So his argument is kind of like if we said Americans are doing this, Americans who are just citizens would go, I mean, what are you talking about? I'm not involved in this. And so in that same sense of like we have something where a terrorist attack happens to affect them, and they go, oh, it's a false flag. This is something we shouldn't necessarily be
yeah,
super sympathetic to. I'm wondering if you can kind of add to that commentary
yeah,
in that perspective.
yeah. I definitely will, man. Thanks for the call. It really goes back to what we've already said, but you've actually added another level to it, right? Um, I'm loath to false flags. Once your thinking has moved to the point where you dismiss something as a false flag first, that's like your first gut reaction. Then one, you're too vested in whatever it is you're trying to promote, right? You know, people are dead, right? And the fact that they're dead could be the result of we don't know. So instead of giving it time to find out why this happened, people not only spin it in their or their preferred narrative, but they also delve over into the conspiracy theory to say that from the left and the neoliberal left in America, there's the anti-Russia narrative. There's anti-Russia language that is very important to them. And so anything that can become sympathetic to Vladimir Putin or Russia in general is something that is very quickly dismissed, not by everyone, right? This is not a categorical statement, but from some very influential voices, right? Media voices, MSNBC voices, Malcolm Nance, the Joyanne Reeds, this immediate dismissal as this being suspicious because it gives a level of sympathy to the Russians. You bought in too far into the anti-Russia narrative if you can't take a second to see that Russia was attacked and people are dead, and without any evidence suggest that it was a false flag. You're in that way, you're just as bad as Alex Jones. There's absolutely no qualitative difference between, now motivation wise, maybe some difference, right? Because I don't believe Alex Jones believes half the shit he says. But anyway, I digress. But there's no difference between a conspiracy theorist who jumps to a false flag narrative for something that is disgusting to us, and you jumping to a false flag narrative because it doesn't benefit your overall agenda. So it erases, and to the point of erasure, it erases the lives of the people who are lost. And all they have to do is they really could just say nothing, or they could just sympathize with the reality of what happened, right? Sympathize with the loss of life, and just wait till you find out. But that doesn't drive clicks. That doesn't drive your popularity. Right now, there's a voracious desire to have an anti-Russia narrative. Now, I'm going to tell you, like, we're getting ready to discuss some other issues, and we discussed on last Thursday. There's plenty of reason for us to have a problem with Vladimir Putin, right? But to let that evolve into, if they speak Russian, then I automatically think that they know Trump, or this entire this. It's too similar. It is too similar to this Islamophobic rhetoric. It's too similar to it. And not draw, and it was like, okay, Ben, you're drawing a false equivalence. No, I'm not, because you've reduced a tragedy down to a false flag, right? Then you're just as nefarious to me as people who have made a false flag of everything else, and people who are so committed to their Islamophobia, so that if something happens to a Muslim population, then their instinct is to, oh, that's a false flag to make us look bad. So to that end, I very seldom agree with Michael Tracy. on things, but I can't disagree with them on that. And this is a perfect example of when your political agenda has gone too far, or you're so caught up in it that you can't take a step back and not dehumanize an entire group of people who were just killed, right? And it could turn out to be anything. The fact is, we don't know. So the people who are stomping on Islam as a result of this are just as bad to me as the people who are saying, oh, this is a false flag to benefit Vladimir Putin. Both groups are idiotic and imbecilic, in my opinion.